G'day everybody, welcome back to Paddlecast Quarantine Edition. Very special episode today. I'm not sure it even qualifies as a Quarantine Edition episode because I actually had a guest here in the studio with me, a real life, living, breathing human sitting across the table from me. No more of these international video calls for today's episode. I was joined by a local legend. His name is Bob Margetts, possibly not a name you're familiar with unless you're from around here, but no less of an inspiration when it comes to paddling than any of the famous names we've had on Paddlecast over the last few weeks. Bob is an amazing guy. Him and his wife have been paddling for the last 6 or 7 years, virtually every single day of the year. They're absolute fanatics. They really sum up the spirit of stand-up paddling, in my opinion. And that's why I wanted to get Bob on the show, just hear his story of how paddling has impacted his life and his take on the sport in general. SUP has quite literally changed Bob's life. Him and his wife moved interstate to be closer to their local training group here on the Gold Coast. They used to commute an hour each way to go paddling. And when that got to the point that they were doing it almost every day of the week, they decided it's easier if we just move interstate so we can be closer to paddling. So it's literally changed their lives. But yeah, just a fascinating guy all around, Bob Margetts. We may have to actually do another one of these episodes because we started chatting, or we kept chatting rather, after the cameras stopped rolling. And I learned the dude's been a Chinese martial arts instructor for 30 years. He's like some insane level belt. He's been shaping surfboards for some of the most famous surfers of the 70s and the 80s. Just an all-round interesting guy, a great guy, and hopefully you find it an inspiration. If you're still able to get on the water, well done. I hope you're making the most of it. If you're not able to get on the water these days, then I hope you find this bit of motivation, bit of inspiration for when this crazy pandemic is all over and we can all meet up back out there. I've certainly enjoyed doing these daily episodes. We're going to keep them going every single day of this quarantine period. I think I just scraped in with a daily episode for today. It's still Wednesday in Hawaii. I've got about an hour and a half to get this uploaded on YouTube and Spotify, and it'll still keep the streak going with these daily podcasts. But no, I've really enjoyed doing these, and I'm really excited to share these stories with you all around the world. If you're enjoying these episodes, Club SUP Racer is a way you can support the daily SUP Racer podcasts and all of the creative work that SUP Racer does. It's a new paid monthly membership club, kind of insiders access club, where you'll get a few perks, but really just to support the creative work that we do here at SUP Racer, that I do at SUP Racer. I wish this was a whole team. It's just me. But I do enjoy the support of this amazing community, and I couldn't do it without you guys, and I wouldn't do it without you guys. I mean, you guys are the reasons why I do this. So look out for Club SUP Racer. You can jump on supracer.com/club. It's opening later this week. So if you're listening to this first out of the gate, it'll be up in a couple of days. If you're listening to this in the future, then go to supracer.com/club. And that's how you can support SUP Racer through this Patreon platform. It's kind of a platform to support creative artists. Still not sure I qualify as one of the creative artists out there, but I'm claiming it, folks. SUP Racer is going to have its own Patreon page. Anyway, Club SUP Racer, it's a little bit of fun we're going to have. And until then, I hope you guys enjoy today's episode with Bob Margetts. No relation, might I add, to Callie Margetts. I'm still finding this very hard to believe. These guys are in the same training group. They train several times a week together in this little hometown of ours. Callie Margetts' father is also named Bob Margetts, and they assure me that they're no relation. I don't know what's going on there. I think someone's pulling my leg, but apparently no relation to Callie Margetts. There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's late. I've got to stop staying up so late doing these intros. Let's just do the episode. Here he is, Bob Margetts. Bob, mate, welcome to the show.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Chris. Nice to be here.
How many times have you actually paddled today already?
I've just paddled once today.
Yeah?
Once, but it was...
That's low by your standards.
Yeah, pretty solid effort. But yeah, paddle most days at the moment, being in lockdown.
Yep.
There's, I like to get out there. It's, it's a great thing to do.
When did you start paddling?
That'd be 2013. I started paddling. It was a mate of mine and myself went on a surf trip. And at the local resort we were staying at, there was some people stand-up paddling on surf subs. And, we thought that'd be a great thing to do. So when we came back from the surf trip, we immediately went out and got a couple of surf sups, some NSPs, and started paddling out in the ocean. Not really to catch waves, just to go paddling for fitness.
Yeah.
And that's how we started. And it was fun. We enjoyed that until my mate had a blood rush and went to one of the local shops one day and bought a raceboard.
Yeah, right.
So all of a sudden he was on a raceboard and I was on a surf sup, and that was no good because he was just smoking
You're about 10
me.
minutes behind.
He was just smoking me. So it was, I didn't get one straight away, but I searched around and just by coincidence, Mick the Better came to my clinic for a bit of...
You're a physio, right?
Yeah, a bit of rehab on his knee. And he was telling us about raceboards, and he actually had one, and the second week that he come and saw me, he actually bought one down and lent us one. Yeah, and that was the end of the story. We just, from that time on, we never turned back. We're just on raceboards, and my wife was totally addicted. And so, of course, you can't just have one. You've got to have two boards. And, so pretty much towards the end of 2013, 2014, we were paddling on raceboards. And mind you, we were pretty slow at the beginning and, gradually got into some training. But first, we actually got into doing some skill sessions with Kelly. We discovered, Kelly Margetts
your namesake
was running some skill sessions. So once a week, we would drive from Byron Bay to do a skill set with Kelly, and that was all she wrote, mate.
Now, you used to basically live down in Byron for work.
Yep.
And commute to paddling. And then a couple of years ago, you just switched it around. Now you moved for paddling, now you commute for work.
Yeah, we did. We moved up here at the end of 2016, but from basically those first 3 years, we used to drive up here 6, sometimes 7 times a week to train and paddle and downwind and all of that.
You figured it'd just be easier if you lived here?
Yeah, we used to come up. We used to hang in Winders Park just all day. We paddled 3 or 4 times a day in there on the weekends. It was just great. But we decided that, there was a lot of driving involved. And so we ended up with our business just working 3 days a week, 3 big days in Byron. And we come up here, so everything revolves around paddling. It's very lifestyle based. So we just, work down there 3 days, paddle the other days as much as we can.
Wow.
So it's...
Why? Why is paddling mean so much to you?
Oh, it just gets in your veins, mate. We love it. I come from a surfboard background. I was a professional surfboard shaper for more than 30 years.
Yeah, right.
And really involved in surfboard design. But when I met Mick the Better, I didn't really know that there was this parallel universe of paddlers.
Yeah.
Because you've got your surfing and you get locked into to pretty much that lifestyle, but running in a parallel universe is all the clubby paddlers, the which leading to the Molokai paddlers, and when I came up here, we just were surrounded by legends of the sport. Kelly Margetts, Bo O'Brien, Travis Grant. You would paddle with these guys every day. Mick.
It's not a bad spot around here on the Gold Coast. It's kind of it's a mecca for those that don't know. It's basically bred. Probably a dozen of the best paddlers of all time have come from this little creek that's just over the road here.
It's totally the mecca of paddling. It's just fantastic. We get to paddle with all these great guys. And plus there's some, I've discovered that, I love training, but I've discovered there's a lot of other people in my same boat who love training too. And it's, we're all competitive when you get out on the water where, we're not young, we're not elite, but we love staying fit and we love paddling.
You're paddling pretty quick. I've been out there a few times training when you guys are out there, and I can't keep up with you. How old are you these days?
I'm 65 in a few months.
65. All right. Well, I'm 36, and you're making me feel slow.
Yeah.
So you're doing something right out there, Bob.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty funny because this is the fastest I've ever gone.
Yeah.
With my age, I'm not slowing down. I've got better. Who knows how long that'll last? But you know, as you get older, you haven't got much. You know, you gradually lose your strength, but you've got your technique. So I work on that, and we're very fortunate to have some, great mentors around here that, will pick us up. I was just paddling down the creek the other day, and Jacko said, "I come over here. You're just doing this wrong or that wrong," and so with that little bits of advice, I'll go and work on that for a few months, and it's great. We've got all these great people helping you.
Yeah, and your wife paddles with you?
Oh, my wife's a frother. She just loves it. She would paddle all day if she could. She just loves her paddling.
Do you guys talk about it, like your addiction with paddling? What's her motivations?
I think it's just fitness based. She loves the fitness. It's relatively low impact compared to running. She's, had bad knees from netball and, as a lot of people have in the past, and, a few injuries here and there, but it's low impact, and she's got fit, and it's really motivated us to look at diets and recovery and correct eating.
Yeah,
things. It's great.
So you're not just faster than ever; you're healthier than ever, fitter than ever.
Healthier than ever. Yeah, we've been doing a full plant-based eating regime for 2 years now. Not that we're new to that. For a period there in the 80s and 90s, we were total vegetarian for 15 years and didn't drink alcohol. So
for 15 years.
15 years. So
damn, you got some willpower there, Bob.
Yeah, but you gradually sort of you like the social aspect of it, so you not so much fall off the wagon, but you just slide into the social aspect.
Yeah,
and
you're back on the wagon these days, though.
Yeah, no alcohol, and it's great. Never felt better. Recovery is incredible.
Yeah. So
for my age, so I'm enjoying it.
What is the recovery when you're 65, when you're in good shape, when you're paddling? How many times a week you're paddling? 5 or 6?
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
What's your recovery like?
Well, I had a session today at I use the Garmin pretty exclusively and by how I feel. But yeah, my Garmin tells me 33 hours after a solid session this morning, so that's a bit over a day and a bit. So
yeah.
So if I paddle for the second time in the day, I'll just take it easy. Won't raise the heart rate. Just nice and cruisy. Go and catch some runners or nice easy technique paddle or something like that. So
yeah. So
just exert yourself once a day, hard.
Were you exercising before this? Like go back 6 or 7 years before you got into SUP. Were you in relatively good shape anyway?
Yeah.
Like are you always surfing?
I've always trained, always surfed. I've had some pretty major shoulder injuries over the years. My surfboard shaping career was very hard on the body. So I was surfing in that time and doing a lot of swimming and also shaping. It was just hard on your shoulders.
Yeah.
My shoulders are pretty much wrecked for surfing, but I can paddle all day without it hurting them.
Yeah.
But the surfing is, rolling the arms over is just not good. So I just changed sports virtually.
Yeah.
I had 40 years of surfing in some of the best conditions. Now I'm hoping to have another 40 in paddling.
Nice. What kind of conditions are you paddling in? What's a normal paddle session like?
Oh, well, today we did about a third of it in the creek and the rest of it out in the ocean. So we definitely need to paddle out in the ocean a lot more. You need to work on your technique in the moving water. Very important. Years ago, we used to do a lot of ins and outs training, but
the old bop days.
Because there's no bop,
yeah,
everyone's pretty much turned into flat water warriors, and so we lose our ability to train in the ocean. But
isn't that weird? I remember when I got into this because we're in we paddle on the same creek, and I started about 2010. Back then, like those first few years, everyone was doing bop training. Like the whole year would lead up to the bop, and every second time you'd be out in the ocean, and every other time in the flat you'd be doing like interval sprints and everything. It was all based around this one race.
Yeah.
And now the race doesn't even exist anymore. And you're right, everyone basically does flat water training.
Yeah. Well, we would do every Saturday session would be in the the ocean. We'd start at Lacey's and paddle out through the break and back in, do ins and outs. Every Thursday session would be half in the creek and half in the ocean. So it was, you had to navigate the moving water. But these days, luckily today we're pairing up in two. So, two of us went out.
Yeah, how does training work in the age of isolation?
It's a little bit weird because you love training with your paddle buddies.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's a strange, very strange situation. You're forced to pair up with with someone else, which is usually someone you're similar level. Mm-hmm. Which is not bad. It's makes you, keeps you honest.
Yeah.
With your paddling, but it's just weird. You want to pull over and have a chat with your mates, and you can't. Sort of, you don't who's watching from the bushes.
Yeah. So no more draft trains 10 deep.
No.
This might change racing forever, this pandemic. Maybe we won't be able to do the old draft trains anymore.
No, well,
2 or 3 limit.
Well, at least you're 14 feet apart if you're drafting. So
that's true. I mean, we're kind of social distancing anyway on a race board. They're so bloody big.
Yeah.
Was it a shock when you got into the sport that race boards are so much bigger than surfboards? Or did you have experience with the clubby boards?
I'd actually shaped a lot of clubby boards, but not paddled them very much.
10-6 clubby boards?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, shaped a lot of those, but never paddled them. And yes, navigating them in and out through the surf, especially surfing them. From a surfing background, you'd think you just pick this thing up, but it was not the case. I really struggled for, quite a long time in actually surfing them in on a wave, like a long time. But then, you gradually get the hang of it.
Well, it's weird because going back to the BOP training, the boards used to be built for surfing waves back then.
Most definitely.
Now they're absolutely not because 99% of races are flat, so they're just these flat water weapons.
Yeah.
And they're damn hard to surf waves on.
Yeah, well, we've been riding 26, 27-inch boards with lovely rockers in them and stuff like that. These days,
they were just big surfboards back in the day.
Yeah, the boards are just ironing boards these days. They're so flat.
Yeah.
And very, very difficult, to negotiate when you take up on a wave. Got to almost be standing right on the tail block, and even then you nosedive. So,
what are you paddling these days? What's your what's your quiver? You got a few boards.
Yeah, I've just cleaned out the shed of a few, but yeah, I've got a bunch of boards. I've got a bunch of Synovas. I've got a Synova Unlimited, a flat water board. Got a few 6, got some 1s.
Yeah.
It's
you got a few boards.
Like I like to share them around. There's some really good quality boards being made.
Yeah.
Especially local stuff and
Yeah. Well, two of the leading board designers in the world are the brothers. One of them is just outside here, Benny Tadru for one, and then his brother Marcus, who was here. He just moved back to Perth, but he designs the Synova boards. Yeah. So between Synova and One, it's basically the two brothers that are pushing the limits of raceboard design. Yeah,
those guys are really pushing the envelopes. I'm pretty good mates with Marcus and Ben, and I love what they do. It's just inspiring stuff. I've no desire. I've been a surfboard builder and designer, and I've no real desire to design paddle boards or anything. I just want to paddle a board that suits myself. For my age.
Have you ever tinkered around with board design, race board design?
Just very minimally, but I just really don't want to know about it. I just want to go paddling.
It's more fun to paddle, isn't it?
More fun to paddle, yeah. Yeah, but you do look around and find a board that suits you, and we all want to go fast, so we're looking at sort of going a little bit narrower, but I still want to be able to paddle them in the moving water. So you need a board that's maybe not so narrow, but more of an all-rounder. So,
what's your motivation these days? Do you want to go faster? Is it just fitness? Is it social? Is it a bit of everything? Do you compete much? Do you do a lot of races?
I try to do as many of the local club races. I've been a member of the Brisbane Sup Club for a long time. They've got 250 members.
Yeah, they're doing an amazing job up there, Bris Sup.
So they put on usually a 7-race series during the year, and it's nothing to have 70 or 80 or 90 paddlers at those events. So it's really they're really pushing the envelope with that, and they hold it mostly in Moreton Bay. So you have challenging conditions up there, but it's not like surf or anything like that, but still very challenging. And it's great that guys like Paul and Angie and Kelly Margetts, they come up and compete in those events and lend their support. So it's great having the elite guys blending in with the bashers, so to speak.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted to get you on today was not just to share your story. I love the fact that you moved interstate paddling. That's brilliant. But there's this whole movement these days towards the grassroots of the sport that we talk about. It's not just about the elite paddlers. Like the foundation of our sport, that, the base of the pyramid are these local races. It's the weekend warriors. And you've probably graduated well beyond that these days because you're pretty bloody quick. But I think you sum up the essence of just the Stoke. You're not an elite athlete, but you're more passionate about the sport than most of them are. How can you sum up this sport? Like, what does it mean to you, and why do you think why is it a great sport?
Well, yeah, that's a difficult question, but I think the grassroots thing is fantastic. It's unbelievable. I get to paddle with like-minded people all around. But one of the things that really has sort of, I think, brought the sport together would actually be you, Chris. It's before Sup Racer, you didn't really have this sense of closeness or togetherness with the sport. But now, just listening to your podcast and especially your coverage of races, you know all the races by name for a start. All the races by name, and every paddler like myself around the world gets the chance to watch those races, comment, show the Stoke, everything like that. So the community is much smaller. It's closer together. You do these great bucket list races, which we all can't do them, but we can watch them and involve ourselves. And then, we come home and we go, well, yeah, these guys are doing that. Maybe we need to go and train a bit harder and see what we can do. But but I just, with my age, I won't be able to paddle forever, but I want to be as fit and as fast and strong as I can for as long as I can. And there's in our regional community like Gold Coast, all the Bris Sup crew that I love to paddle with. There's quite a few people up there in who do the same. They're doing a lot of paddling, a lot of training, and I just love it. So I go up there and I'm 65, but I don't really care. I just go and I know I've trained a bit, so you see how you go.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the kind words, mate. That means a lot coming from you. And I think you're right. We've got a great community around here. We're very lucky with the local community here.
We are.
It's been, it hasn't just produced some of the best paddlers in the world. It's got an amazing base to it. And look, what the guys are doing up in Brisbane, the Sunny Coast Sup Club, of course, all the Currumbin crew, the famous Currumbin crew. There's countless paddles around here that they just do it because they love it.
Yep.
Where do you see paddling going? You've been around now for 6 or 7 years, and it's kind of gone. It goes up and down. Now that we're in this crazy time in the world where a lot of things are on pause, and there's going to be a lot of things that can change course after this. Do you see it's an opportunity for SUP to change course? Should it change course? Where could it go? Where will it go?
I would say the regional paddling needs to be drawn closer together. In this time of shutdown, we're all paddling in our various little enclaves, but we're all paddling. There's a lot of us paddling. We find that we're training in the mornings, we're training in the afternoons. Whenever we can, we're all out there paddling, and that's just our our little area here, but Sunny Coast, Bridgesup, you know, we're doing a lot of paddling. So I think when we do come together, we're going to be stronger. I feel. I think paddling is growing.
Yep.
It's growing if you foilers don't.
Bring that a little bit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
It's growing if you foilers don't take over.
Foiling has taken down a lot of good men and women from paddling. They've gone to the dark side. I know I've actually stopped race training and I'm foil surfing every single day.
Yeah.
It's pretty addictive. Have you tried it yet?
Haven't tried it yet. I'm staying away from it. But having said that, I just love what the guys are doing on the foils, and that you can see it's just, it is addictive. It's crazy what they're doing. They're doing some amazing stuff. It's so I don't like to compare it to paddling, but paddling is what I love to do, and there's a lot of people in the same boat as me. They love their paddling.
What's your have you got a bucket list race that you would love to get to next year or in the next couple of years? Is there one race that stands out that I got to get there?
No, I haven't really got any. I would kill to go and do a Euro tour.
Yeah.
I would love to go and do that. Just paddling in those amazing places in Europe.
Greek islands?
Yeah. Oh, and just anywhere over there. It's just I would definitely love to go and do that at some stage, but it's not something I have to do.
Yeah.
Like I love paddling in the creek here. I love paddling across the snapper on a day, and we have beautiful conditions here. But I don't care. I don't mind where it is. I'll go paddling.
Did you do the Clarence 100 last year?
No, I didn't. I did some training with the boys a few
the
times.
100K Ultra down the road there?
No, I didn't do that. But
if that happens this year in October, which is probably 50-50 at this stage, would you head down?
I might think about it,
100K leisurely stroll?
Yeah.
It's over 3 days.
Yeah, I'd think about it. Most definitely.
It's like the Aussie version of the 11 cities.
Yeah, I think I'd try it.
Yeah?
I'd give it a go. I'd have to start paddling a bit longer. And, having said that, I've done a few paddles with Wayne and Steve-O and Ben up down the Tweed, and that was, quite intense. Yeah, it was a lot of concentration and a lot of it's just different paddling distance.
Yeah.
You can't smash it out too much. You've got to get into your rhythm. You can't go too hard because you just blow up if you do, because you're pretty much on the rivet as it is, even in zone 2.
Yeah.
You're on the rivet, but you just kick it up a little bit more and you're done. You just got to...
If we're pretty lucky in Australia that we're still allowed on the ocean to go paddling and go surfing. Like half the world now is basically, it's illegal to be doing what we're doing, which is kind of crazy to even think about. But what would happen if you weren't allowed, someone that's as passionate as you about paddling, if tomorrow the government said, all right, ocean's closed, rivers are closed, you're indoors for the next 2 months. What kind of effect would it have on you? Is this like a drug for you?
Yeah, I'd probably go nuts. I would, but first thing I'd do is I'd drag out the paddle trainers and I'd be on those. But it's just, that stoke of being in the salt water and on the water is, you can't replicate that. So being indoors would be a bad thing.
Where would you paddle if you could do one race in Australia? Have you done King of the Cut?
Yes, I have a couple of times.
You've already done King of the Cut?
Yeah, a couple of times.
I wanted to bring up your Instagram here.
It's very challenging.
I saw a shot on there earlier. How was King of the Cut for you?
Yeah, it's challenging. It's it certainly wears you out.
Yeah.
Over there, because it's the
what
down.
Is it, 25Ks?
Yeah, the race is 25Ks, but the the daily paddles that we do are 12Ks.
Yep.
And it's a little bit longer than what we regularly do on a downwinder here. So it's challenging. You're trying to get your times down as best you can, because it's basically a time trial over there. It's very enjoyable though. It's just you
Let's see here.
It's
Go
totally
give at
addictive.
Bob Margetts a follow on Instagram. All these shots. This is King of the Cut, right? Was this?
Yeah.
You got the Sonova ocean board there. Looks like you and Ange there.
Yeah, we did a lot of paddling together over there. We were over there a week and a half early.
Yep.
And yeah, we just did a lot of paddling over there together. Mind you, I wasn't paddling with Angie. She was flying.
Yeah. Even with a bad ankle?
Even with the bad ankle, she was
pretty bloody
smoking
quick,
it.
isn't she?
She was smoking it.
What's the all right, here's your physio work. What's the appeal of downwind paddling compared to flat? For those that aren't as blessed as we are to live in, an ocean nation, we're pretty lucky here. Even just outside, the downwind run here is pretty good. And WA is next level. What's the appeal of downwinding compared to flat?
Well, it's just like open ocean surfing. Being able to, surf the wind bumps and the ocean swell, it's very appealing. But it's it's also very challenging to get good enough to get quick, to be fast and stuff like that. It's not something that just happens. It's very challenging, but I love doing it. I love the challenge of it, and basically that's surfing. Get on the tail of your board and cut left, cut right.
Does it take you back to surfing days when you're downwinding? Is downwinding like the closest to surfing for you?
Probably, surfing bigger waves, I suppose, like that. When when you're really on a runner and you've got some speed going, it's sort of, your heart's in your mouth at times.
Yeah.
You're sort of going so fast, you just go.
How's that unlimited go?
Oh, it's great. I love the unlimited.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like a limousine compared to a 14-footer. So, no.
You got the 18-foot Sonova?
No, I've got a 17 mine. Mine's custom order. It's a semi-recessed flat deck.
Yep.
So, built for me. It's great. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I noticed you're wearing the QB hat there. I'm a big fan of Quick Blade myself. I know you are as well.
I've been an advocate of Quick Blade, since my very first days of paddling. I love what they do. I just love their stoke. Love what they do. Love their product. I've never paddled another. That's the only paddle that I've used. I've gone through various paddles. I think I had the the Kanaha 100 was the first one that I had, and then we had some V drives, then some trifectas, and now I've got the UV 82 at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a great paddle. I love it.
Jimmy's a bit of a craftsman, isn't he?
Yeah. He's passionate. I love what he does. It's they're a small business. I run a small business myself and have run many small businesses. I just love that their stoke, their passion, I just love it. So yeah, definitely would support him. Always.
Have you seen the Yukon canoe that he's building over there?
Oh, I'm just frothing over that thing. I'd just love to get in that and paddle it. It'd be so good.
Would you ever do a Yukon race? Is anything like that so mind-bogglingly long appeal to you in any way, shape, or form?
I would definitely do it, but I don't know whether. I think I've got the capacity to do it.
I guarantee you'd be able to do it.
Yeah, it's just
You're in better shape than me, Bob. You're faster than me. I limped to the finish line. You could do it.
Yeah, it's just the logistics of doing that sort of thing,
Yeah, it's a long way away.
But it's it's magnificent. I love it. I love the movie you made on it, and it was good watching the recap of it the other day. That was fantastic.
Oh yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Seeing what all those guys, and you guys what you actually go through.
Yeah.
So, I don't believe you did it without stopping. I can't believe that. Fair enough, do it in a week but not in 3 days.
Well, I think that's when we were up there. I know I had the overwhelming urge every couple of hours. You'd pass a spot and you'd see people had been camping there the day before, or you'd even see people with canoes that had just pulled over for the night and they had a campfire and marshmallows and a little banjo out. And you're like, man, what am I doing? This is how you should be doing the Yukon. So I was in two minds when I was out there. I was like, I can't stop, I can't slow down, but man, I just love to pull over here and pitch the tent and just enjoy this spot.
Yeah,
I think I got to go back there.
You're going to have a chat with that crew on the bank.
Yeah, there was a few times where I was going delirious just being out there by myself for so long, talking to the Indian chief on the riverbank. But no, the Yukon's that's a special race, and I think for me that definitely got me more excited about paddling. After I was going through mixed emotions about the sport for the last couple of years, and then after the Yukon, something just clicked, and I was like, man, this is why I love paddling.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that, or do you remember having that moment in the early days when something clicked? And you're like, oh my God, I'm addicted.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, on the Raceboards, I was pretty much addicted from straight away. I said, how good is this? You go fast, you put your paddle in the water.
What was it like
quicker
when you switched? Because you're on basically just a big surfboard.
Yeah.
When you started, that first experience on the Raceboard, how was that? Was it like going from a Hyundai to a Maserati?
Oh, most definitely. It was just, yeah. Yeah, it was.
Night and day.
Most definitely. And I think actually towards the end of that 2013, I think we actually, my mate of mine, on a whim, we actually entered in the race from Snapper to Currumbin.
Oh, yeah?
We'd never paddled in the ocean before. And I think I had a 14-foot by 29 NSP, and he had his Raceboard. He had a big JP, and we did that, and a few of the local legends were on the jet skis. Mick DeBetta was on the jet ski, and I think Kelly was. I don't know if he was racing or around, but they were always encouraging us in, and we paddled the last KSO on our knees because it gets rough down that end from Snapper. But it was it was fun. It's and that was sort of early days, and we never really looked back from there. We just straight into it.
Yeah,
that was great. Never looked back. We just seriously, we used to paddle, live in Byron. We come up 6 or 7 times a week. We drive up. Spend a fortune in fuel.
So it was cheaper in the end. It was cheaper for you to move interstate because you were crossing the state border. Like that's an hour's drive away.
Yeah,
it's in New South Wales.
Yeah,
and you're doing that 7 or 8 times a week just to paddle.
Yep. Yeah, we used to wake up at 3 a.m. and to come up for training at daylight in Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So
wow,
get up, drive up for the hour, get here for training, and pack up the boards, go back and work.
Because you guys were an hour ahead down there in the summer.
Yep, that was hard.
So you actually had to get up at 3 a.m. to go paddling.
That was hard. It's hard in daylight saving.
And that never dampened your enthusiasm.
No, we just did it.
Well, it makes sense now that you moved up here.
Yep. Oh, we won't be moving back. We just love it up here. We've got our paddle community. We love everyone we paddle with and surrounding us. See, there's our crew on there's Jacko's crew. There's the outrigger crew. There's just so many different craft, and it's inspiring. It's great.
It's a good vibe, isn't it?
Like everyone's slogging it out. The outrigger girls, they smash it out. On the 6-man, 6-man, and the 2-man, and the 1-mans, and Jacko's crew, they don't hold back either. Like I've certainly learned how to train. I've seen I've seen Kelly and Bo and a few of those absolutely bust themselves at training, and I just I go, wow, that's what you have to do to get to that level. So I'm not holding back. I'm going hard. I'm busting myself too.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. You just go out and bust yourself,
What's the future? What's your future of paddling look like? Where do you want to go with this?
I'd like to do as many events in Australia as we can. Pretty much the local ones. Like, there's some quite some great events around. The Sydney crew put on great events. Scott's Head's a great event.
That was a bummer that.
Yeah.
Got cancelled.
Race up at Elliott Heads is a great event. The regional club races are really worthwhile supporting. So I would, where it's physically possible for me, I'll get it as many as I can. The Sunny Coast, they got a fantastic crew up there. They're I love those guys. They're very passionate. They they run regular training sessions and some monster paddlers up there too in that group. They're great. So
what is it in Australia for those that have never been here? There's something in the water around here. Why have we just got so many amazing paddlers, surfers, lifeguards, etc.? It's just part of the culture, right?
I just think it's the environment, the Aussie culture. Yeah, it is. It's like I said, when I started paddling, I come from just a 30 years involved in surfing. I shape boards for pro surfers all around the world. But when I moved over to paddling, I just went, holy shit, it's just this parallel universe where there's all these absolute legends of the sport that I just did not know about. And it was just, it was very humbling, actually.
Who'd you shape for back in the day? Can you name drop a few?
Yeah, I was actually Mark Richards' ghost shaper for about 25 years.
Really?
Yeah.
MR?
I shaped pretty much all the MRs in Australia for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bob, that's like you're shaping royalty.
Yeah, and I had a real good colleague of mine, Mark Plater, was sort of a sidekick there, and he's a fantastic shaper in his own right, and he's actually still doing them down there now. I retired in 2005, I think, from shaping because I've just had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, spent 30 years doing that, and I'm coming up to more than 30 years being a manual therapist with what I'm doing now. I've had crossover careers and looking at something different. I don't know what that will be.
You started shaping mid-70s?
Yeah, 1976. I actually started shaping in my garage at home in about 1972.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The old single fins?
Old single fins, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some of those lightning bolt boards?
Yeah. I actually mirrored a lot of my shaping on Terry Fitzgerald's boards. He was like the guru, the guru Australian Hawaiian shaper. So I love those boards.
I got to find a picture of MR in the 70s. So that some of the younger generation that might be listening knows what we're talking about, because this guy was basically the greatest surfer. He's probably the greatest surfer of all time until, Tom Curran and Kelly Slater came along. But he was a legend. He won 4 world titles.
Yep, he did.
And he had this classic board here. Here we go. Well, that's a twin fin down there, but this one up here.
Yeah, I've shaped literally thousands of twin fins.
Yeah?
Tens of thousands.
Is this one of yours?
I don't know.
Get this on the screen over here.
Mark Richards used to shape all his own boards. He's a very fine shaper.
Yeah?
He actually learnt off one of the legends of the sport, Dick Brewer.
Yeah.
And when he was younger, and it just so happened in the time that we were shaping, I probably started shaping the MRs in 1977, around there.
Was he the first to do the twin fin, MR? Did he popularise the twin fin?
He definitely popularised it. I don't think he was the first to do it. They were making them in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Reno Abalira was making them.
And that was the board for a good 10 years or
a long time,
15 years until, was it Simon Anderson did the thruster?
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
It is, yeah. The twin fin really changed surfing. It was, the boards were long single fins, and all of a sudden it was a short, short twin fin.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, MR's a bloody legend. I had no idea you were shaping with him. That's amazing. What's the, can you see any parallels between the kind of revolution, the evolution in surfboard design, and I guess like the almost arms race we had in sup raceboard design over the last 10 years? Because if you look at the boards from, I know when I got into this about 10 years ago, you wouldn't look twice at one of those boards. I've still got one on the rack at home, the old Nash Glide. That's just a beast now. It's like an aircraft carrier compared to today.
Boards are so refined these days. Yeah. There's some great, manufacturers out there doing fantastic stock boards. That's a thing to do to be able to walk in and grab one off the shelf, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Be able to do, and those things are refined. They're bullets, you know. They're great.
What were you on this morning?
I had a sick RS, a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I've been very fortunate over the last few years. I've ridden a lot of different boards. I like trying out boards. I'm just that type of thing. From a surfboard background, I want to see what this does, what that does, you know, so I can choose for myself. There's, you know, every board has got pluses and minuses, and you know you can't tell in one paddle. You have to paddle them for months to work them out, and I've paddled some great boards.
Well,
all different ones.
Bob, you're an absolute inspiration, and I look forward to getting back out there on the water. You guys wake up way too early for me these days. But actually, I saw you out there yesterday when I was foil surfing.
Yeah.
You're out there doing some ins and outs.
Yeah, second paddle for the day out there, just having a bit of a go. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, when I do eventually get back to stopping foil surfing so much and getting back on the raceboard, I'll join you out there at the 5 a.m. sessions.
Oh, mate, you're going to have to start paddling if you're going to, you know, paddle with Jimmy Terrell and Travis Grant over there.
I've been advised by Travis that I better get my ass into shape before the Yukon. It's a little bit lucky that we had the 12-month pause, because
exactly,
not sure I would have been ready for Team Travis, Team Jimmy. Those boys know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're full on. They love it, and I'm sure they want to win it. Oh. They're going over there to win it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Trav said, I'm not in the team unless I'm contributing to some kind of line honours victory. So he told me, he actually put me in touch with Chris Maynard down here. He's like, call Chris, you've got to sign up for the Outrigger Club, start training. You'll learn how to paddle sitting down.
Yeah.
Not carrying you down the Yukon.
Exactly right.
So yeah, I might have to get out there and join you boys on the weekend on the creek. Some more 5 a.m. sessions.
That'd be fantastic, Chris. Be good to see you down there, mate.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, mate, thanks for chatting today. It
was
no
worries.
A pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You got a very inspiring story, and I'm sure you'll be paddling for decades to come. So thanks for joining us today.
Yes, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me, and I hope this is an inspiration to a lot of those guys and girls who are my age out there, and because I want to see them all out there for a long time to come.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate. All right, I won't shake your hand because there's social distancing.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much.
We'll do a little elbow bump. Yeah. But, thank you, Bob Margetts, a local legend from here on the Gold Coast and an absolute inspiration. Thank you to you guys for tuning in around the world. We'll have another episode of Paddlecast Quarantine Edition in about 24 hours from now. Cheers. I think Daniel Husulio is actually up next, so look out for that one. Cheers, guys.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Cheers, mate.